Hey everyone. So Elon Musk announced that Tesla will try a little bit of advertising at a shareholder meeting yesterday. So I wanted to make a video highlighting what it could mean for Tesla stock investors. So let's begin. Of course, if you look at Tesla's latest revenue growth trends, you can see a significant deceleration in terms of revenue growth, falling all the way down to 24.38% in its most recent quarter. But this was to be expected as Tesla reached larger and larger scale, right? It's harder to grow revenue when you're generating 1 billion in sales versus when you're generating 100 million in sales. There's a greater market that you can reach at that point. But that's not the only reason Tesla's revenue growth has been slowing. Competition in the EV industry has been fierce. Several automakers have jumped into the EV market, as well as legacy automakers that are now producing EVs. That's made it harder for Tesla to generate sales. So, this decision to start advertising might help Tesla generate more revenue. So, certainly, if Tesla starts advertising, revenue should increase faster than it would have without the advertising, right? Because now you're reaching a greater number of people, letting them know that you have the product for sale. However, it's not all positive when you're looking at advertising. So, gross profit margin measures sales minus the cost of goods sold. And for a company that hasn't done any advertising up until now, Tesla has done a phenomenal job of increasing its gross profit margin. Typically, when you look at companies historically, the higher the advertising, the more it allows you to sell your products at premium prices because you generate brand recognition. You convince customers that your products are worth more through advertising, and so you can sell your products at higher prices and generate greater profit margin. Up until now, Tesla hasn't really advertised, so the fact that they were able to expand their profit margins to an industry leading 29% at the peak was impressive. However, their profit margin has been falling for the reasons I mentioned earlier. Competition is rising, and that's increasing the cost of goods sold because now Tesla is competing with other car makers for the same materials, and that's increasing the cost of those goods, which is bringing down its profit margin as well as it's slowing down the sales growth, which is also bringing down the profit margin. So Tesla could be seeing an opportune time to say, hey, let's go into the market, let's advertise, and that may help us sell our cars at higher prices, which in my opinion might be a better choice than to go out and cut prices, right? You've seen Tesla over the last several months institute several rounds of price cuts, thousands of dollars, right? Would it maybe be better to spend money on advertising instead of cutting prices? Would that might be a more effective way to spend the money? That remains to be seen, but I think it's worth a try. I think it's worth the experiment to test it out and see where it leads you. Does it bring you a sufficient return on investment to justify continuing that spending, right? To continue the advertising. So, gross profit margin is almost ensured to increase versus not advertising at all, right? Because the sales and marketing expense comes below the cost of goods line on the income statement. So the cost of advertising is not included in the gross profit margin, but the benefit is included in the gross profit margin. So given those factors, it's almost guaranteed that Tesla's gross profit margin will increase in the aftermath of increasing the advertising budget. However, the operating profit margin, which does include sales and marketing expense, that remains to be seen how it's impacted as a result of advertising. It may go up or it may go down depending on the return on investment in advertising. Will the advertising spending generate enough sales to offset the expense and still generate greater profitability? That remains to be seen. That's a question mark. Whereas the gross profit margin, less of a question mark, it's more of a guarantee that the gross profit margin is likely to increase. as a result of increased spending. Given all of that, I, you know, I think it's a reasonable decision for Tesla to increase advertising, start advertising. Although the timing is a bit curious to me, I wonder if Elon Musk had already made the decision that he was going to start advertising at Tesla before he chose to acquire Twitter, which is strongly reliant on ad revenue, or if the decision to start advertising at Tesla came after he acquired Twitter, because Twitter is very likely to benefit as a result of Tesla increasing the ad budget, right? It only makes sense that the CEO of Tesla, if deciding to start advertising, will choose to advertise on Twitter, a company that he personally owns, right? Which raises the question of some conflict of interest there and gets into some interesting uh, decisions there. When did that decision happen? Did you decide to buy before or after? I don't know. If I was a shareholder of Tesla, I would be a little concerned. Like, is my money as a shareholder of Tesla going to go to enrich your Twitter valuation? Or is my money as an investor in Tesla going to go to the ad budget to help support Tesla? That's just a question I would be asking if I was a Tesla shareholder, which I am not. But even from the outside looking in, I'm already thinking about that potential conflict of interest, which I hope you, as an investor, if you are interested in Tesla, you're also considering that as well, because you would prefer, as a Tesla investor, for the money spent by Tesla to help Tesla, not to be helping Twitter. Just something to keep in mind there in this decision to increase advertising. Okay, but that's all I've got for this video on Tesla's decision to start advertising, which overall I think is a reasonable move considering all of the factors that Tesla has surrounding it with the rising competition and rising cost of goods sold. Maybe it would be better to spend money on advertising instead of cutting prices on the cars. So that remains to be seen, and we will find out. But that's all I've got for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.